Hi, I'm Senator Mike Lee, and it's an honor to talk to you today about the Constitution, our nation's founding document. The 55 delegates to the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia knew that a lot was at stake when they were drafting the Constitution. In 1787, the United States had existed for only a decade, and it had already run into some serious problems. The young country was struggling to pay back debts it had taken while fighting the Revolutionary War. It didn't have an official leader because the presidency didn't yet exist, and it didn't have a strong military, even though it was threatened by foreign enemies and rebellions by angry citizens who didn't think America was living up to its promises. In other words, in 1787, there was no guarantee that America would last to see the turn of the century. So the delegates studied hard to find out what the best form of government might be, and Benjamin Franklin said at the time, as they studied governments all around Europe, but they found none of their constitutions suitable to our circumstances. So they designed their own, and thank goodness they did. The Constitution they created has stood the test of time for 230 years. By comparison, most countries' constitutions last for only a couple of decades. So why has our Constitution proven so successful? I think it's because of a couple of things. First, it spells out specific roles for each part of our government so that everyone knows what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do. We call this the separation of powers. For example, the Constitution says that representatives and senators like me make the laws, while the president makes sure those laws are implemented, and judges settle arguments about the laws. The Constitution also lays out what the different levels of government are supposed to do. It gives important responsibilities to the federal government, such as protecting the country from attack. But it reserves most responsibilities to the states, as well as local communities, so that people like you, your family, and your neighbors can make important decisions about things like schools. It's a pretty simple system. That's one of the reasons it's worked so well. Second, the Constitution includes protections so that the government does not violate your rights. It makes sure that individuals trusted with power, especially those who make the laws, can be removed from power by the people. Bad presidents can be peacefully voted out of office. They can even be impeached. Bad kings are harder to get rid of, as we learned during the Revolutionary War. The Constitution's Bill of Rights is another valuable protection, ensuring that we're treated fairly by the government, no matter what we look like or believe. It protects our right to speak our minds, worship God, and work freely with others, to do all the things that contribute to a happy life. Later, we added to the Constitution so that our laws lived up more fully to America's founding principles. For example, we changed the Constitution so that it outlawed slavery and allowed women the right to vote. All of these things, the separation of powers, free elections, the Bill of Rights, help to explain why the Constitution is so special. The Founding Fathers did not hand over power to a king who would rule us according to his whim. Instead, they handed over power to free men and women to rule together as families, as communities, and as Americans. The delegates at that Constitutional Convention in 1787 had no way of knowing whether their plan would work. As Benjamin Franklin admitted, they were groping in the dark to find political truth. But the Founding Fathers had faith that a country run by ordinary people instead of kings would work. They were giving us a job to do in the Constitution. So read the Constitution, learn about American history, and get involved in the life of your community and nation. Thank you so much for listening to this important topic.